Yo, welcome to the main channel of Raid and Trade. Today we got the winner of the giant card, the Dusk Dragon. Oh yes, baby. You see that? We're going crazy today. Okay, so let's go on the deck profile. The winner of the giant card is K1W, baby. Go for it.
Yes. Yeah, I played Tearlament Ishizu. How surprising this format. One last dance, I guess. Tier engine was pretty standard. 2 Rhino, 3 Merle, 3 Halfness, 3 Sharon, and then I decided to play 3 of the new Tearlament Kashtira. I think it's good for consistency, and it's another hand trap, like a Halfness that you can trigger at any time. And then for Ishizu engine, I went all out. I played 12 Ishizus, because I figured that in the side events there would be a lot more rogue decks. So this beats most of the rogue decks. It's just unfair against anything that's not the mirror. And also, I guess, one last time to have fun with this when it's getting banned tomorrow. Or like limited very hard.
How do you feel about that, Nish?
I mean, he's crazy. We're milling 5, baby. We're milling 5.
Definitely milling 5, yeah. Or 10, or 13, or however many you want. And
I like that.
The one orange light to go with the Ishizus. If you play all the millers, it's the most broken hand trap in the game if you have a life. It's at 1 probably for a reason, although people didn't feel good about that ban list. It does help the rogue decks in that matchup to not get orange light and just insta-lose on your own turn. Then, of course, 3 field spell. I decided to play 1 Scream because I'm already at 45 cards, and Scream is the card that you mostly want to access going first, and you probably don't want to see going second. It's maybe fine game 1, but game 2 where every deck basically just FTKs you, this probably isn't going to win you the game. So I'm at just 1 Scream, 1 Terraforming for the field spell, and 1 Instant Fusion is the Saki one-off broken card. I mean, I think everybody knows that by now. I decided to play 3 Super Poly as my non-engine. I think this is pretty strong into Kashtira, because most of the time they're ending on the Diablosis and the Arise Heart, which are both dark but different types. So you can Super Poly them to Mud Dragon, which is a 1 card out to basically their entire board, and yeah, then you can just out the Shangri-La, out the lock, and the board doesn't do anything anymore. Then 3 of the new tactics Thrust and 1 Talents. This card going first is probably the most broken thing that exists. I think a lot of people got onto that already. Then the 1 Talents, because yeah, you want to look at your opponent's hand most of the time if they have something like a Bestial or a Halfness. And also going second, I mean, having access to Talents, Terraforming or Instant Fusion whenever you want to, it's pretty strong. It's maybe not enough to be a board breaker card, depending on which different targets you play for it in the main deck. But I think with Super Poly, the Ishizus, you often can simplify the game state in your opponent's turn already, or like Super Poly first action in your turn, so that Talents can win you the game, even if you're getting Valorant, even if the opponent puts up some of their board. Then I played 2 Salic for Tearlament traps and 3 Imperm. I didn't play Meta Noise, even though I played Talents, because I think Meta Noise on its own is...
Sucks.
Yes, it sucks. It's a bad card. Like, you never want to see it. You don't want to open it. It's much worse than Salic to open, even though Salic is already a little bit clunky, and milling it requires some setup as well. So, I don't know. I just didn't like it. Salic is the better quality card. Then 3 Imperm, because it's good against anything in the meta right now. It shuts down Kashtira a good amount of times. They needed 2 extenders to Imperm the Rise Heart level 4. And I mean, on Kid Colossus, it's also more than fine. So I felt like that's the 1 card that hits every deck right now. So it was a no-brainer to main it. Then for the extra deck, I think with Kashtira coming out for this weekend, it's everybody's on 2 Kid Colossus, so you don't get sniped on the one by Unicorn or Diablosis. 1 Rogue Colossus and 1 Kaleido Heart. There's an argument to play 2 of this, because it's like your best removal tool for Shangri-La, but I think there's just no space. Then 1 Garura, it's important for having another target for your tiers, but also first and foremost for Super Poly. In this deck, since I'm not running Bestials or Beatrice, so the level 6 is not that relevant in my deck. Wonder Gostapelio, double Mud Dragon, so you don't get sniped on the one Mud Dragon. A lot of Kashir players were actually respecting Super Poly this weekend, so they always took out the Mud Dragon, because it's much more important to take out this than Zeus, because they can technically, if you activate Thrust, first action in main phase, banish it face down, and then you're zone locked before you can activate your talents. So Zeusing them that way doesn't always work, so Super Poly is the much more dangerous out to them. Then one Dweller for the mirror, mostly, one Reader, because it helps your engine get going. And can also be a pretty good interruption, mostly against anything that's not tier. Then one Baguska against non-tier decks, or if you just have to stall a turn or something. Double Zeus, so it doesn't get sniped. And then one Dark and one Sprint. Dark obviously very strong in this deck, and Sprint is just a card that gets you to engine for I don't know what reason. Side decking is for people that build bad main decks.
We don't need that. We don't need side.
But I actually decided to run a side deck. Coward.
You're too kind.
Yes, I played 3 Gamma and Driver. I think it's the most generic hand trap. Can also hit Shifter. If your opponent goes Shifter combo, you pretty much have no out in your entire deck to that, except if you Orange Light or Gamma the Shifter, and then you're praying to imperm him and then be able to play, or if you have a Halfness or Tearlament Caster. Actually, like 6 of your engine cards are now interruptions, so hitting that Shifter actually makes you a chance to play much better. Then I played 3 Book of Eclipse. FTK against Kashira, also good in the mirror. There's a lot of applications. Also hit Sword Soul that I played, I think, round 2 of the Mega Challenge.
Sword Soul, a very relevant deck, guys. Be prepared for that.
Then 2 Dark Ruler, it's accessible via Thrust, but it's kind of weird because you have to bait a monster effect first and then you can negate the board. But I figured it's still strong enough to include because you want to draw it, it's not only a target. The 2 additional talents, it's 2 Dark Ruler, 2 talents because I want to max out on the talents and 1 is in the main deck. So I only had space for 2 Dark Ruler. Talents is good for going first, and it also hits fair decks like Sword Soul or Sprite going second. It takes their board and whatever. Played 1 Feather Duster because it's a thrusting target, so I usually don't respect back row decks in this format. But I figured if I have 4 copies of Feather Duster, but just by running 1, might as well, right? And then 1 Herald of the Abyss. Not sure whether this is necessary, but this can out the Shangri-La. So the zone lock, if you're already zone locked. So you have a thrusting target that you can search and out the Shangri-La while you have no monsters on to play. Then I played 1 Crime for going first, just to outboard breakers.
Do you play 15 cards in the side deck? Like
it's 15.
You sure? Looking like 20.
4, 7, 9, 11, 14, and the 51 is Cowboy.
Because he has nice art, right?
Because he has nice art and he's 3k attack if you summon it in attack position. So you can kill Diablosis and Zeus. Very relevant. Yes. So shoutouts, I guess? Yep.
Shout out!
Shout out to Feature Match. Shout out to, first and foremost, Raid and Trade, my sponsor, my team. They helped me come here, prepare for this event, and I mean, it paid off in the end, right?
Run it.
Then, of course, shout out to my friends from Gear 61. Especially if you're German, you should probably check them out. Great YouTube channel. Shout out to my locals in Aachen. Shout out to 100% all my friends that tested with me for this. And yeah, I think that's it. Shout out to Nash for
Let's go, baby.
hyping me up.
That's it. See you next time.